see if Jess wants to give this a go.
Can we do it solo?
We'll see.
Let's give it a shot. Yeah,
what's the worst that could happen?
Ah! Okay, that's a thing.
So she's
There's
in a little bit of trouble.
Run.
Hey everybody, welcome back to PlayStation Underground. You got Justin and Kristen here, joined by Gina, Rich, and Jess from ZeniMax Online. We're taking a look at the Elder Scrolls Online Summerset, which was just announced at Game Developers Conference. Welcome everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hey, so can one of you give us a quick run-through of what you announced and what we're going to be seeing today?
So what we announced was our next chapter in ESO, which is Summerset. So we're going to the home of the High Elves and the rumored birthplace of magic.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
So
so
is that where we're at now? We're at Summerset now.
Yeah, we're on the island right now. We're right outside of Shimmerine, which is one of the Altmer cities on the island. Basically, when you complete the tutorial or when you first arrive, you arrive in Shimmerine. And you already notice that the architecture is different here than anything we've built up to this point.
Yeah. Yeah,
And there is a new tutorial also that we built for this. So you go through, similar to when we released Morrowind, we had a new tutorial. This has a new one also. And it doesn't take very long, but it kind of teaches you the basics of how to play, and then you're spit out right here.
Gotcha.
So you can just run in any direction at that point.
Yep.
Well, let's run in any direction. I want to see what's going on here.
All right.
Kristen, you have some experience with the Elder Scrolls Online.
I'm a very big Elder Scrolls fan in general, and my fiance as well. He's been playing Elder Scrolls Online since it was released. He would sort of dip in and out. When Morrowind came out, he lost his mind.
Right. Yep.
And we're also really excited about this because I've never seen Summerset. I think the last time we saw it was back in 1994
in Arena.
It was in Arena.
So
yeah.
I've certainly never played that. So it's exciting for me. I would always start out my characters either as a high elf or a dark elf. So to go to the ancestral home of the Altmer.
Kind of geeking out a little
I
bit.
got real excited.
It is, and it's we've had a lot of really great feedback on what people have already seen at GDC, and they really like that the world looks and feels different.
Yeah.
It's a lot more manicured here, and it feels like it has almost been sculpted into the image of the Altmer.
It looks so peaceful. Like no conflict could happen here.
Well, in our time period, the island has been closed off to the outside world.
That's right.
This is the home of the Altmer, and so they've been able to study the things that they want to study in kind of peaceful bliss.
A little bit of a bubble from the rest of the hot mess that could happen out in Tamriel.
That's right. Well, we have the Three Banners War going on right now, which is what the Eldmeri Dominion is a part of.
Right.
And Queen Aren is leading that war for Cyrodiil. And in her stead, she has a proxy queen that kind of rules over the island. And when you first arrive in Summerset, Queen Aren has issued a decree to open the island to everybody. So, and her hope with doing that is to bring better economic prosperity to the island. And there are a number of groups that aren't necessarily thrilled with that idea. So that plays a part in the storyline that you get to experience in the zone.
Now, I know some people were getting really excited about some returning characters. I know my fiance especially was like, Raz!
Razadar is coming back.
So, yeah, that's one of the things we really enjoy doing when we're building the zones, is trying to find interesting and unique ways to bring back some of our most beloved characters. Razumdar is one of those. He's the eyes and ears of Queen Aren, and when she wants something done or something investigated, he's the Khajiit that gets sent in to go and try and figure things out.
It's worth mentioning, when Jess opened the map, the actual landmass of Summerset is larger than Morrowind, right?
It is.
Oh, wow.
So this is
There's a lot to explore.
the biggest area that we've
exciting.
built up to this point. You get to go to the main island of Summerset.
Run.
Nope.
And you get to go and explore what magic means with the Psijic Order, and going to the island of Artam, which is this mythical place in Elder Scrolls lore.
So the Psijic Order, could you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. They have been in a number of Elder Scrolls games before, but never have been kind of the forefront of things. And they are a group of reclusive mages who were the precursors to the Mages Guild. And they like to think of themselves as the group that founded magic, you know, mortal magic.
Well, they created a lot of the spells that we use in the Elder Scrolls games now, right?
They did, and their thing, the thing they love to do the most is, you know, research magic and research reality and bending time and those things.
That sounds like a pretty rad job. Can I sign up for that?
Yeah. Well, you have to live on Artaeum. And Artaeum, in our time period, disappeared over 300 years ago.
Perfect for a reclusive order.
Exactly.
Mages,
So
right?
they just disappeared. Nobody knows where they went. Nobody knows why they went there. But they're happy off in their island, being able to play with magic and learn things.
That sounds so cool.
These environments are just so stunning.
Yeah, the art team really knocked it out of the park. And in the background, Jess is walking towards the capital city in Summerset, which is called Alinor. And the architecture, you know, that you're looking at here looks like it's impossibly tall. You know, it looks like it was perhaps built with magic, which is something that the Altmer are definitely known for. They're not afraid to use magic in their lives and to enrich it.
And the buildings in Alinor, they're super tall, but you can actually go into them and go to the very top if you want to.
All the way up into the palace at the very top of the towers there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Going back to the Psijic Order, once you complete the skill line in there, then you get the Psijic Order skill line, right?
You can actually join the Psijic Order,
Ooh.
and that's never happened before.
There you go.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You're convincing me. I was telling you earlier, I haven't, I shamefully haven't dove into the Elder Scrolls Online yet, but you're selling me on it here.
Well,
it's nice because
Which one could you possibly
any existing character can pick up the skill line and use it.
Oh, yeah.
And you get 5 active abilities, 5 passive abilities, and an ultimate just like any other skill line. So it's super accessible to everybody.
It is, and the beauty of that, too, is you can take your character that you've kind of fallen in love with up to this point and put, you know, the time and effort into and use the skill line. You don't have to start all over again.
That's super exciting.
The skill line is themed around the Psijic Order, who are the masters of mysticism and time. And so the players are going to find new ways to do damage and generate resources, but also manipulate time, which is...
It's kind of crazy.
which is something that you don't normally get to do in Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that would be challenging to design in an always-on MMO-type environment. What was that like?
It is definitely something we think about very hard when we design abilities. Players tend to be really creative in their uses of abilities and how they're interacting with the world.
Well, when you're talking about manipulating time in something where everybody kind of perceives time in the same way,
Right.
if you affect time in a certain way, how does that manifest to other players?
Well, let me give you an example of the ability.
Okay.
So when one of the abilities that you can get, which is the ultimate, is called Undo.
Deaths are our business to
And
solve,
it works
not
kind of
yours.
like it sounds, where
Control Z.
we actually
Basically.
joked about naming it that at one point. There's some funny way of doing that. But when you cast the ability, it will rewind you back 4 seconds. So it'll take your health, your stamina, and your magicka and your location and play this really cool animation rewinding you back.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
it's more about you and not the world around you. We have another ability called Time Stop, where it's a ground-targeted ability, and when you throw that out in the world, a little bubble of time appears, and anything that's trapped inside slows down and then eventually stops for a few seconds.
Oh, that's so cool.
The ultimate that Rich mentioned, we saw a lot of players saying, like, oh, that's not just a regular ability. Like, you can't just keep on undoing everything over and over, so
Right.
it'll have a cost to it that you can only use occasionally.
Yep.
And it does only affect health, magicka, stamina, and your physical location, so it doesn't affect buffs and debuffs and everything.
It sounds like there's a lot of potential support utility.
There
Oh,
is,
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we were talking the other day about if you're in PvP, let's say, and you're trying to take over a keep, you can go down, attack something, press undo, go right back up again. Just got to run the other direction.
So Jess here is making her way to Eleanor.
You'll have to pay for custody.
We're on our way up there.
Great. What are we going to find there?
This is the capital city of Summerset. So
Okay.
this is kind of the most high magic location. This is where a lot of the really rich and powerful Altmer live. The Proxy Queen has her castle at the very top. And you get a really good sense of the scale of the buildings.
Nice.
Like I mentioned, you know, they feel like they're almost impossibly tall.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you look up and you get this really awesome reveal of
Keep
the
your guard
city,
up.
and then
We may not be
if
so
Jess kind of
lucky
looks
if more
up a
of
little
these
bit to the
creatures
left
attack.
as you're kind of coming in, you can see all the way at the very, very top of the mountain is the...
And you can climb all the way up there?
You can go
Oh,
all the
yeah.
way up
Mhm.
there.
I love
And
it.
so again, it's something we haven't really done in Elder Scrolls Online up to this point.
It's
And
quite breathtaking
It
when you
is.
first enter, and you're just surrounded by all these buildings that are really tall. And we had a little bit of that in Orsinium,
we did.
where we kind of started to go more vertical, but this is just at another level.
It is. It is to the next level, which is really exciting.
And I noticed that we just switched to first-person mode. Worth calling out that that's a thing you can do
Oh,
in
yeah.
Elder Scrolls
Oh, yeah.
Online.
Yep, you can play the game that way if you want.
You see your weapons in your hands like you do in other Elder Scrolls games. So
Yeah.
yeah, either way really works.
Ooh, Eleanor discovered.
You made it.
I'm loving
Nice.
these trees.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Oh, there's a dog.
Loving the dog. That's what I love.
What is it?
Hello, dog.
Part of
Pup.
what I have loved about hearing about this game is the pet options, the mount options.
Oh, there's so many.
There's so much you can do.
we give you a lot of different ways to customize your character because
Yeah.
that's a big part of role playing in any type of game is,
course.
you know, your persona and how you want to look.
We actually just released something called the outfit system
oh my
a
gosh.
couple months ago, which
I
really
would- I would
allows you
sink
to.
so much time into that.
Oh my gosh, it's insane! It really gives you a chance to customize your character.
Is that
So
like
you can
doing
wear-
fashion versus the stuff you actually have equipped?
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can have any armor you want, but then equip essentially a costume over it to
Oh,
look
That's awesome.
Yep.
however
Yeah.
you want.
That's actually a like huge selling point for me.
Yeah. Oh, it's been so fun. Anytime you go into a major city now, you see just this mob of people surrounding the outfit stations, just all customizing.
Yeah, so this is kind of the crafter's square, if you will.
Okay.
Nice.
Jess is going to go down to the right there, down the stairs a little bit, and take you into the giant crafting room where one of the new additions to Summerset is jewelry crafting.
That's
cool.
right. I remember reading about that, which I remember just
you
from
came for
Skyrim and
craft
Oblivion.
and
Enchantments
certification,
were
I can
my
assist.
jam. I
Uh-huh.
was always so excited. So tell us more about this jewelry crafting. What extent will it change your skill set or your points? things
So
like that?
you're going to be able to craft jewelry now.
Mhm.
Up until this point in the game, you could only get drop jewelry.
Right.
And the exciting part about that is it allows you to mix and match and build out your character to be more befitting of what you want to do and need to do.
Don't drown, Jess.
You can go for a refreshing swim.
There you
in
go.
Eleanor.
Yep. And so this is something that players have asked for since the launch of the
For a
game,
long
being able to
time.
craft jewelry.
Yeah, what does the progression look like if you decide that you want to be crafting jewels? Is it like a whole like ramp up, or is it something you can kind of quickly get into?
Yeah, it works like our other durable crafting skills. So like blacksmithing, like woodworking, where you can go in and slowly build up your skill set and upgrade jewelry and create jewelry of different levels and also make jewelry in craftable sets.
Oh,
so
cool.
that's
Very cool.
something that you haven't ever been able to do up to this point.
Can you create jewelry for other players, or only
You can.
creating it
You
for
can create
yourself?
jewelry for other players and trade that to them. And when
love
we
this
went in
animation.
and built this system out, we also made jewelry a little bit more important in the world. Up to this point, it's kind of been almost stat sticky type things where you can only get health or stamina or magicka on your jewelry, and we fleshed that out and added 6 brand new traits
Nice.
to the system. So now there's 9 traits for players to be able to mix and match
Oh,
and
wow.
kind of experiment with.
Yeah, it really expands how you can build out your character this way.
I love it.
I'm a sucker for crafting.
Yeah, it's a huge part of our game because our crafted gear is just as good as dropped gear in the game. We have 280, almost 300 different craftable sets and drop sets in the game.
Wow.
And so it's just this huge amount of customization for the players.
Cool. So how does all that work? What were we seeing there with the jewelry crafting?
With the jewelry crafting, so this is a work in progress build, so the UI isn't 100% done, so there's some placeholdery things.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can go in and you can create jewelry, and that uses different types of metals.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And
that's all stuff you can find just throughout
the world.
Throughout the world.
There are seams. They're called seams out in the world that you can mine and get jewelry.
So I assume there will be more news to come on all the crafting stuff.
We'll have
some more of that.
Some articles on the website and everything.
This is a pretty big expansion. I think that you're calling it a chapter, which is differentiated from the other smaller content drops that you've been doing.
Yeah, and this is chapters for us are not just for veteran players; they're also for new players. We have a new tutorial that gets you into the story and makes you feel like you already know what's going on and you're not lost. And then in addition to all of that, the way ESO just works in general means you never really feel like you're behind. You can always play with your friends because our focus is more on the journey and not necessarily on having to be a certain level in order to go to a certain area. Or
tell me a little bit more about how that system works, how you can play with your players, your friends who have been playing for hundreds of hours, even if you just started.
Yeah, so what we do in Elder Scrolls Online is we scale the player to the content. So that means, like I said, we don't have these arbitrary borders or gates for you to go to a zone. You can just go to any zone and play.
Yeah, anytime you want, you can go.
Oh, awesome.
And that also means that if I'm a max level player and you're a brand new player, we can play together and still progress our characters and have a meaningful, fun interaction.
And that goes for quests, dungeons, 12-player trials.
Oh, wow. Really? Even the trials?
Hey, good segue, Gina.
Wasn't that amazing?
That was a great segue.
We should talk about the new trial that's coming.
Please
We're not
do.
going to talk about that sword swaller.
That's completely normal.
Yeah, it's completely normal. So
hey, we're in Alinor. Anything goes here.
Yeah, we'll have.
So this is what the high elves have been up to this whole time.
Yep. So let's zoom out the map there, and we'll go and we'll just quickly go into the trial, which is that really cool. Yeah, there you go, angry icon up there.
Cloudrest.
Trials are for 12 players, and again, they can be any level. There's a normal version that anybody of any level can go into, and you can play it. It's challenging, but it's still doable, but you need a little bit of coordination.
In more general MMO parlance, this is kind of like a raid.
It's kind of like a raid.
Yeah.
You know, some people will say that this is kind of for the elite group of players, but in our game, that's not really how it works. We have normal and veteran.
Yeah.
And we just want players to go in there and be able to play with their friends.
There's a number of different bosses, and you can choose to fight some of the bosses, all of the bosses. There's the Griffin.
Whoa!
Cool. And basically, if you choose to fight none of the bosses and go straight to the final boss, all of those other bosses will join them at the same time. So it makes it really difficult,
So
but the rewards are worth it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful creature.
Yeah. This, again, is something that the art team always does and always amazes me is they find a way to one-up themselves in everything
they just knock
do.
it out of the park
That
every
looks
time.
incredible. So I don't think we have 11 other players handy to actually
No,
go show
we
off.
probably don't. But this gives you an idea of, you are in the city, you get to look at this, and if just kind of walks up to the edge there, you can kind of look down over the city and kind of get an idea of just how high up you are in the world.
Yeah.
Just step over those
There you
rugs
go.
there.
Don't go too far, but we're way up in the mountains.
There is a hard mode also, veteran hard mode, and that's kind of like the most challenging of the challenging. Yeah.
For a Cloudrest?
Yeah, that's the one that we see a lot of our
okay.
veteran players do. And there's achievements that you can get here. There's item sets.
Yep,
Nice.
there's 6 brand new item sets for players to get in this trial.
one additional piece of sort of new
Fire
content
salamanders before
in
we phase
Summerset.
one.
They're called Abyssal Geysers.
Oh, okay. All right, we're on the hunt for an Abyssal Geyser. What's an Abyssal Geyser? It sounds ominous.
A little bit. It's basically a randomly spawning group event that you can do, similar to Dark Anchors in the
Okay.
base game.
Right.
So these will spawn usually along the coast.
Yeah, we'll have
Oh.
Jess kind of run down the coast
You can see if there's one
along
up.
the west and see if one is up here. But yeah, like Gina said, they're kind of like Dark Anchors, but they're themed around the Yagra, who are a new creature that we've added to Summerset, and they're basically an aquatic beast that have been summoned to the island to create chaos. They're kind of like the shock troops for kind of the larger threat that is attacking Summerset.
Well, hey, if we don't find an Abyssal Geyser, at least we got to enjoy a leisurely
Day
stroll
at
on the
the
beach. Got some folks fishing. There's an octopus beached over there.
And these are all coral beaches.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of new sea creatures that we created. They're cool. They're very different from what we've seen before.
Yeah.
I love the crabs just chilling. Are those mud crabs?
They are what we call
Coral
coral crabs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they look a lot
They got
different.
some fancy armor.
That's right.
Hey, buddy.
They got tired of seeing their brethren getting defeated.
That's going to be the, in 20 years, the Elder Scrolls endgame is going to be the mud crabs finally taking
That's
over,
right. And there's just past a Yagra there. That's what the
Whoa.
Yagra look like. Oh,
Get 'em!
Straight into combat.
Yeah! Yeah, you got this. Go, Jess!
Just some spiders chilling at the beach.
There you
It's a
go.
thing of nightmares.
All right.
Oh, there's a guy.
Got
Oh,
the
yeah.
guys are
Get
there
'em.
in the background.
Yep.
Oh, no.
You got this.
There we go.
I think we can do it. Yeah.
Yep. And so this is a geyser, and it is very much a group event, like Gina said.
Nice.
There's several waves to it.
Oh, someone's
If you
doing something over there.
If you complete
Bad
it,
things.
there's some nice loot that you can get out of here, some item sets.
Luke is good. Afterlife.
The Court of Bedlam is a new faction that
okay.
that is part of the story in Summerset, and they are kind of the dissenters. They're the group that doesn't really like Queen Oren's proclamation of opening the Alinor or opening Summerset
okay.
to the outside world.
So double bad news.
So if you don't stop them, I assume Bedlam breaks out?
That's right. That's right. Let's see if Jess wants to give this a go. And
Can we do it solo?
we'll see.
Let's give it a shot. Yeah,
What's the
get 'em.
worst that could happen?
Oh, okay, that's a thing.
Uh-huh. So she's
There's
in a little
lot
bit of trouble.
Run.
A lot of things trying to kill
You
her
just-
now.
Uh-huh.
Nope on out of there.
Yeah, okay, we gave it a shot.
Jess is like, nope,
Oh,
not
no.
gonna happen.
How many players is this geared towards?
It's similar to Dark Anchors, but it'll scale a little bit larger. So I think what we have seen up to this point in our playtesting is 2 to 3 players will probably be able to get through it pretty easily. And then if you bring more, you'll just get even more monsters to fight and slightly harder
Especially
monsters
if
to
you
fight.
unlock that Psijic tree and you can cast some
Yeah.
time manipulation
There you
spells
go.
on it,
Yeah.
right?
And it is a wave event, so you have just waves of enemies coming out one at a
Right.
time.
Nice.
Very cool.
That looks
Yeah,
awesome.
it's fun.
Anything else? Are we good?
I think we covered all the major bits.
Yeah, we covered a
Yeah.
lot.
We
There's
did.
There's a lot happening here,
Yeah. And it sounds like even more to come.
There
There
is,
is.
yeah. Yeah, we'll get into more details about additional things that are coming to ESO. We'll have articles going out on the website over the next few weeks.
Nice. We'll work with you guys on some PlayStation blog coverage. How about that?
That
Sounds
sounds
fantastic.
excellent.
So that's the Elder Scrolls Online Summerset. It's coming to PS4 on June 5th. You can obviously play the Elder Scrolls Online now. So you can hop and you can get ready for Summerset, or you can hop in when it drops on June 5th.
You know what's cool too is if you pre-purchase it digitally, and you're a new player, you can actually start playing the base game now.
Yeah,
And Morrowind, which was our chapter from last year.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Cool. So there you go. Go pick up the Elder Scrolls Online, give it a shot. You've certainly enticed me into playing it. I'm going to give it a shot. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This was fun.
All right, we'll see you next time on PlayStation Underground.